There's a story that I share with our children in faith formation programs, and I've shared this story for probably about 35 years. So it also would have been shared with students I had when I taught, as well as children that I had in CCD classes, and also in the different parishes who have been assigned over the years. And it's something I learned about Lent, going way back to the 5th grade. Now, just to kind of situate, I went to a school that was not too far from a drugstore. My father happened to own that drugstore. And so after school, I would go to the store. And there were three pretty small jobs that I was supposed to do. If I went to the store after school, I was supposed to empty the wastebaskets by the cash registers. I was also supposed to make sure that the little vials and bottles that we used for the prescriptions were filled. And then if there was any mail, I would take the mail over to the post office. And when I completed these 3 tasks, I was allowed to take as my pay a candy bar. And so I probably could have given a review of every candy bar that the store had sold, because I would always get a different variety. Or maybe it might be, at that time they had those wacky packages, which are those little stickers that once you put them on something, they could never come off, even though they're supposed to be removable. Or, baseball cards or something like that. So something basically within the price range of one candy bar. Well, my mother suggested for Lent what I should do is do the different jobs I was supposed to do, but not, and she specifically said not to eat the candy bar. Well, in a 5th grader's mind, that means I'm not supposed to eat the candy bar. So what I would do is I would go and do the same tasks every day like I was supposed to, but then I would take whatever was going to be my reward, whether it was a Hershey bar or an Almond Joy, or whatever it happened to be, and I'd take it and put it in a drawer in the back room. Well, little by little, that stash of candy ended up becoming quite a big stash, because you would not only have the 40 days of Lent, but we might happen to be there on a Sunday, so I might decide to do those jobs on the Sunday and what have you, that by the time Good Friday came, that drawer was overflowing. As a matter of fact, I can distinctly remember serving at the Good Friday liturgy, going from the church to the drugstore, and seeing all this candy that was going to be a real feast come Easter Monday. Well, that Easter Monday came. Went to school, walked to the store, went to the back room, all set to enjoy the candy, and every piece of it was gone. Somebody, most likely my father, knew what I was doing and decided to teach me a lesson. And, there were a couple things that I did learn from that particular episode. Actually, I think that probably should have been third. Don't try to get away with something from my parents. But first of all, little things that we do during Lent can add up to something big, even though that was not what I intended to learn at that time. The second thing, though, that I think when I look back at that story is, when we do something for Lent, it really should be something wholehearted and something that we do for the Lord. And I was thinking about that, of all things, with our first reading today. Now, I don't think that a 5th grader stashing candy in a back room would exactly be the righteous person turning into wicked ways. But, when we look at the reading, we have these very strong examples from Ezekiel about, first of all, somebody who is involved in sinful activity that turns their life over to God. And when they do, the Lord is very appreciative and not only forgives the sins, but forgets about them. And the reason for that is because it's a conversion of the heart. And I think that we know that we're called during the Lenten season to a conversion of heart, to turn to the Lord. What we're not called to do is what we see in the second example. And again, probably we're not talking about something as extreme. But we're not in the second example, it almost sounds that the person had a checklist of all the things that they did right. So because they had all these things in one column, they didn't have to pay attention on the other hand. And that's not something that is from the heart. That is trying to get away with something, or trying to be held to a lesser standard. And that's not what the Lord is calling us to do. what we're called to do during the Lenten season is have a full conversion of heart. So I think, as we think about our first reading today, as we're still in the beginnings of our Lenten journey, I think it reminds us of the importance of making sure that we're doing things from the heart, doing things for the Lord because of our love of God, doing things because of our appreciation of Jesus Christ and all that he did for us, all that he taught us, his giving us the Eucharist, his dying on the cross, and trying as best we can in our own lives to have a wholehearted yes, a good response to the Lord, which is what the Lenten season calls us to.